This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute professional medical advice. Please consult with your doctor or a qualified healthcare specialist before starting any new vitamins or supplements mentioned in this video. Use of this information is at your own risk. There is a terrifying silence that begins to haunt the body once you cross the threshold of 60. It is not the silence of peace, but the silence of a slow, invisible theft. You might notice it when the grocery bags feel just a little heavier than they did last summer, or when the simple act of standing up from your favorite armchair requires a grunt of effort that wasn't there before. Most people will tell you it is just a part of getting old. They will tell you to accept the decline, to slow down, and to embrace the frailty. But what they aren't telling you is that your body is currently undergoing a biological liquidation. Your muscles, the very engine of your independence, are being dismantled at a cellular level, and if you do not intervene right now, you are watching the final years of your mobility evaporate before your eyes. Welcome to EldraFit Nutrition. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. We are here because the path you are currently walking leads to a place no one wants to go, the chair you can no longer leave, the stairs you can no longer climb, and the loss of the dignity that comes with moving through the world on your own terms. I want you to stop what you are doing and face a cold, hard truth. I want you to try a simple test that will reveal exactly how much time your independence has left. Find a clear space on the floor and try to stand on one leg. Lift your foot just a few inches and hold it. Count to 10. If you find yourself wobbling within the first 3 seconds, if your ankle is shaking violently, or if you have to reach for a wall to keep from falling, then your muscles are already in a state of advanced crisis. This is called sarcopenia. It is a clinical term for a devastating reality. Your muscle fibers are shrinking and being replaced by useless fat and connective tissue. It is as if the foundation of your house is being turned into sand while you are still living inside it. This isn't just about looking fit. It is about the structural integrity of your life. Every second you spend unable to hold that balance is a second closer to a fall that could change everything forever. The statistics for seniors who suffer a hip fracture due to muscle weakness are haunting, and yet most people wait until they are in a hospital bed to care about their muscle mass. You cannot afford to be one of them. The most shocking part of this decline is that it is often completely avoidable, yet it is happening to millions because the root cause remains hidden behind a veil of misinformation. We are taught to fear many things as we age, but we are rarely taught to fear the melting of our own strength. If this realization is unsettling, if it makes your heart race to think about losing the ability to walk to your own mailbox, then you are finally paying attention. This is the wake-up call your body has been screaming for. Before we go any further into the hidden biological mechanism that is causing this melting effect, please take a moment to subscribe to EldraFit Nutrition. Your support gives us the motivation to continue researching and bringing you these critical, life-changing insights that the mainstream often overlooks. Stay with us, because the conclusion of this story is the difference between a final chapter of strength or a final chapter of confinement. Before we move into the science, I want you to reflect on this. Please leave a comment below with your answer. What scares you more about the future? A, the loss of physical independence and having to rely on others for basic movement. B, the persistent pain and fatigue that comes with a body that is no longer strong enough to support itself. To understand why your strength is vanishing, we have to look deeper than the surface. We have to go beyond the skin and the fat, down into the microscopic world of the muscle cell itself. Your muscles are not just passive slabs of tissue, they are high-performance engines that require a constant, violent exchange of energy to maintain their shape and function. At the heart of this engine lies a hidden piece of machinery that most people have never even heard of, the sodium-potassium pump. Every single cell in your body, especially your muscle cells, is embedded with millions of these microscopic pumps. Their job is to maintain a very specific electrical charge by moving minerals in and out of the cell membrane. This is not a secondary function. It is the fundamental requirement for life and movement. These pumps are so vital, so incredibly demanding, that they consume nearly 40% of all the energy your body produces. Think about that. Nearly half of the food you eat and the oxygen you breathe goes specifically to keeping these tiny cellular gates swinging back and forth. When these pumps are working at full capacity, your muscle cells are turgid, electrified, and ready to contract with power. This electrical potential is what allows you to lift a heavy box or catch yourself if you trip on a curb. However, when these pumps begin to fail, the consequences are catastrophic. Without the energy to drive the pump, the delicate balance of fluids and minerals collapses. The muscle cell begins to lose its internal pressure. It is exactly like a high-performance tire that has developed a slow, hissing leak. You can try to drive on it, you can try to exercise more, but if the pump isn't holding the pressure, the tire will eventually go flat. In your body, this manifests as a profound sense of weakness and heaviness in the limbs. You feel as though you are moving through water, dragging a body that no longer responds to your commands with the sharpness it once had. This isn't just fatigue, it is the sound of your cellular engines stalling. For many people over 60, these pumps are not just slowing down, they are being starved. When the energy currency of the cell, known as ATP, cannot be produced or delivered to the pump, the muscle cell cannot maintain its structure. It begins to wither. This is the biological reality of TOCA, the wasting away of your power. Imagine a basement with a sump pump designed to keep the water out. If the electricity goes out during a storm, the water rises, the foundation rots, and eventually, the entire structure becomes uninhabitable. This is what is happening in your legs and your back every single day that these cellular pumps are neglected. The fluids that should be used for energy and contraction begin to pool where they don't belong, and the fibers that should be tight and responsive become lax and brittle. The tragedy is that most people attempt to fix this by simply resting or taking general supplements that never reach the root of the problem. They don't realize that the electricity for these pumps is being cut off by a specific metabolic process that is actively rusting their internal machinery. We are talking about a failure of the very mechanism that defines your physical existence. You cannot exercise your way out of a cellular pump failure any more than you can fix a broken engine by driving the car faster. You must understand what is causing the power to go out in the first place, and why the very fuel you think is giving you energy might actually be the thing that is short-circuiting your entire system. This is the invisible war happening inside your muscles right now, and the outcome of this war will determine whether you spend your later years in a state of vitality or a state of decay. If the cellular pumps are the engines of your movement, we must confront the corrosive force that is currently grinding them to a halt. For the vast majority of seniors watching their strength wither away, the culprit isn't just time. It is a hidden chemical reaction occurring in the bloodstream every single time you consume refined carbohydrates. This process is known as glycation, and it is the biological equivalent of pouring hot, sticky caramel into the delicate gears of a watch. When sugar circulates in your blood at elevated levels, even if you have never been diagnosed as diabetic, it begins to seek out and bind itself to the proteins it encounters. This isn't a temporary attachment. It is a permanent, suffocating bond that transforms flexible, functional protein fibers into stiff, brittle, and useless structures. Think of the proteins in your muscles like the high-tension cables holding up a bridge. They are designed to be resilient and strong. But through glycation, sugar molecules rust these cables from the inside out. You might be familiar with the HbA1c test, which measures how much sugar has stuck to your hemoglobin over 3 months. What they don't tell you is that this same process is happening to the very proteins that allow your muscles to contract. As these proteins become glycated, they lose their ability to generate force. They become heavy and unresponsive. This is why you feel that inexplicable dragging sensation in your legs. Your muscle tissue is quite literally being caramelized, becoming more like meat jerky than living, elastic tissue. Furthermore, this sugar rust doesn't stop at the muscle fibers. It attacks the microscopic capillaries that deliver life-sustaining oxygen to your cells. When the walls of these tiny vessels become glycated, they lose their integrity and begin to leak. Or worse, they become so stiff that blood can no longer flow through them. Your muscles are being starved of oxygen and nutrients while simultaneously being drowned in cellular waste. It is a slow-motion catastrophe where your body's building blocks are being dismantled and repurposed into a rigid, non-functional cage. This is the dark reality of why just eating more protein doesn't work if your blood is saturated with sugar. You are putting new wood into a fireplace that is already choked with ash and rust. To stop the melting of your strength, you must first stop the chemical fire that is consuming your protein. To reverse this decline and reclaim the vitality that has been stolen by glycation and pump failure, you need more than just general nutrition. You need a specific biological repair kit. There are 3 critical nutrients that act as the master keys to restarting your cellular engines and shielding your muscles from further decay. The first is potassium. While most people associate potassium with heart health, for a senior, it is the primary fuel for the sodium-potassium pump. Without it, the electrical charge of your muscles remains flat. The tragedy is that our modern diet is a potassium desert. You would need to eat 15 bananas a day to meet your requirement, but the sugar in that much fruit would only accelerate the glycation we just discussed. Instead, you must turn to dense, low-sugar sources like avocados and deep, dark leafy greens. These provide the mineral pressure needed to push fluid back into the cells where it can be used for power. The second essential mineral is magnesium. If potassium is the fuel, magnesium is the spark plug. It is the mandatory cofactor for the production of ATP, the universal energy currency. Without magnesium, your cells cannot produce the electricity required to move the pumps, no matter how much potassium is present. This is why magnesium deficiency often manifests as those painful midnight muscle cramps. Your muscles are literally locked in a state of exhaustion, unable to relax because they lack the energy to reset. By incorporating pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, and quality whole grains into your daily rhythm, you provide the spark necessary to reignite your metabolic fire. The final and perhaps most overlooked piece of the puzzle is vitamin B1, or thiamine. In the context of muscle preservation, B1 is your ultimate shield. It is the specific nutrient that allows your body to break down carbohydrates for energy rather than letting them linger in the blood to cause glycation. B1 acts as a biological barrier, preventing sugar from bonding to your proteins in the first place. It is the anti-rust coating for your cellular machinery. However, B1 is rapidly depleted by a diet high in sugar and processed flours. The more refined carbs you eat, the faster your shield vanishes. By replenishing your B1 levels through eggs, legumes, or high-quality supplementation, you aren't just supporting energy. You are actively defending your muscles against the corrosive effects of your own blood sugar. When these 3 nutrients work in harmony, the leakiness of your vessels begins to heal, the pumps restart, and the strength you thought was gone forever finally begins to return to your limbs. All the potassium, magnesium, and thiamine in the world cannot save a body that is being daily sabotaged by its own fuel. You must understand that these nutrients are not a magic pill designed to mask a lifestyle of convenience. They are the repair crew arriving at a construction site. But if you continue to set fire to the foundation every evening with refined sugars and processed carbohydrates, the crew will never be able to finish the job. The moment you return to the white breads, the sugary snacks, and the hidden syrups in your pantry, the glycation resumes its silent, corrosive work. The sodium retention returns, the fluid begins to pool, and the cellular pumps, deprived of their clean energy, will once again stall. True muscle recovery and the restoration of your independence require a definitive choice. You are either feeding your strength or you are feeding your frailty. There is no middle ground after 60. When you choose to eliminate the biological acid of refined carbohydrates, you aren't just losing weight, you are signing a covenant with your own flesh. You are telling your cells that their survival matters more than a temporary craving. For many who commit to this shift, the results are nothing short of miraculous. Within a mere 1 to 2 weeks of removing these dietary triggers, the heaviness in the legs begins to lift. The dent in the ankle disappears. The strength needed to stand from a chair returns with a sharpness you thought was lost to the history of your youth. Your body is not broken. It is simply waiting for the right environmental signal to thrive again. It wants to move. It wants to be strong. It just needs you to stop standing in its way. Choose the vitality that comes from a clean metabolic slate and let your body show you exactly what it is still capable of achieving. As we look back at the journey we have taken today, from the simple 10-second balance test to the intricate dance of the sodium-potassium pump, a singular truth emerges. Your health is not a matter of luck, but a matter of cellular management. We have been conditioned to believe that the decline of our later years is a scripted tragedy, a slow fade into weakness that we must accept with grace. But science tells a different story. It tells us that our muscles, our nerves, and our very ability to stand tall are governed by microscopic engines that respond to the environment we create for them. The sugar rust of glycation is not an inevitability. It is the consequence of a modern world that prioritizes shelf life over human life. When we reclaim our diet, we reclaim our sovereignty. We move from being passive observers of our own aging to being active engineers of our own vitality. The weight you feel in your limbs and the fading power in your stride are not just symptoms. They are messages. They are your body's way of pleading for a change in the chemical signals it receives. Listening to these messages is the highest form of self-respect you can practice at this stage of your life. The profound lesson to be drawn from this is that small, microscopic corrections lead to massive, macroscopic freedom. We often look for grand gestures to fix our health, expensive surgeries or complex pharmaceutical interventions, yet the most powerful leverage we possess lies in the minerals on our plate and the sugars we refuse to consume. By focusing on the triple nutrient recovery kit and silencing the noise of refined carbohydrates, you are engaging in a form of biological time travel, pushing back against the decay that society has told you is mandatory. How do you apply this starting today? Do not try to overhaul your entire existence in a single afternoon. Instead, perform a pantry audit. Identify one source of refined sugar, perhaps that morning cereal or the white bread in the toaster, and replace it with the potassium-rich avocado or the magnesium-dense pumpkin seed. Commit to a 2-week metabolic fast from refined carbs and watch how your body responds. Move with intention, even if it is just walking across the room, and notice the feedback your muscles give you. When you align your lifestyle with your cellular needs, the results are not just physical, they are psychological. You will find a newfound sense of agency, knowing that the keys to your independence were in your hands all along. You have the knowledge. You have the tools. Now you must have the courage to act. Which of the 3 nutrients we discussed today, potassium, magnesium, or vitamin B1, do you feel has been most lacking in your current diet? Please share your thoughts in the comments below so we can all learn from each other's experiences. And if you found this information life-changing, please subscribe to EldraFit Nutrition. Your support is what drives us to continue creating deep dive content that helps you stay strong, independent, and vibrant for years to come.